It's the President's Day sales event at Court Kia in Manchester. Our dealership at your doorstep. All this month,
Change the filter.
2021
Apparently it's fucking not.
$59 a month, and Court will deliver to you. East Coast Metal Roofing, your lifetime.
Hey, Marsha, how are you?
Hey, Jamie. Town report looks awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm like halfway through. It's really good. Good job.
My recorder up to the speaker. That works really, really well for me for minutes.
We
but-
are now recording.
Okay, then I'll take that. I know.
I don't want to
was
step on
doing
any
it. I
toes.
thought
If you
were
want
gonna-
to chair, go for it.
I thought you were running it in, hang on.
I'm sorry, Linda, what was
It's
that?
kind of a flood in the cellar in the furnace room, so I got distracted by trying to figure that out.
Oh, no.
The first item on the agenda is a little different from what the first item should be. The first item should be the scenic road hearing for Eversource, and the file is in the filing cabinet. Yeah, so the it was properly noticed in the Legis transcript on the February 4th and February 9th, and it was posted February 9th. And Eversource is asking for scenic road clearing to install a new pole for construction at 3 Cross Road. And they sent us the photos. You all saw it. I hope you all made the site walk, which
Yeah.
was going to be conducted at will during the past week. And if you have any questions, Dane is with us from Eversource.
So my understanding is that pole is going to go, as you're going in the driveway, it's going to be to the left. Is that right? Is that correct?
Yep, yeah, to the left is going to be past the rock wall, so the pole actually is going to be outside of the right of way. But it will be fed from the roadside going through the scenic road right of way, which requires the tree cutting.
And then is it also going to be connected to the pole further down on that same side that the driveway cut is on? The power
Past
line?
past the rock wall into private property.
No, into private property. Is it just going to go across? It's not going to connect to the other pole that's further down the road on the left?
It should already be connected to the pole further down.
Oh,
I think
I
that's,
see.
yeah, I think
Okay.
that's existing. I think that's existing line, and they're tapping off of it to feed this driveway. If I'm understanding what you're
Yes.
asking.
So essentially everything that's there is going to remain there. It'll just be going across the road to the new pole. and then
Yep.
into the property.
And then where does it go from there? Goes across the street to the new pole, and then that just feeds the house, and it doesn't have to go to, continue on to another line that's on the same side down by the bridge?
No, it's just going from that one pole to across the street onto
Oh.
private property. And from there, I'm the arborist, so I'm just dealing with the tree part. But I think from there, they're dropping a service line or doing an underground line to the building if they're going to be.
Oh,
That's outside of the scope of the hearing.
okay. So there won't be a line going over their driveway from the left to the right.
I don't
Alright.
believe so. Like I said, I'm only here for the tree cutting, so I don't know exactly the layout on the private property.
Yeah, we're only interested in, we're interested in everything, but our jurisdiction here is the scenic road hearing, Marcia.
Oh,
And the tree cutting is our
Okay.
jurisdiction. Yeah,
thank
Any
you.
further comments from the board?
I didn't see any issue with it.
I would entertain a motion to approve the scenic road cutting as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll do a roll call vote. I'll read your names off the screen here. Marcia, you're first.
Approved.
Linda Kuhnhart, approve. Sarah Pyle,
Approved.
Jerry Bernstein,
In favor of.
Betsy Hardwick,
In favor of.
Lisa Heath.
In favor of.
Thank you.
And
So the
I
motion
think,
carried and it's
Linda,
approved.
Tom Anderson's here too.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four,
So I
five.
think 1, 2, 3, I think we had 7 with Lisa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, if Tom wants to be it, he can.
Come again?
I'll pass on it. You got enough votes, I'll pass. But I approve of it anyway.
Thank you, Dane.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evenings.
Thanks, Dane.
We'll send you the approval by email, okay?
Yeah. Oh, and you got the check?
Yes, we did. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
Now then, we'll get to it right agenda. Okay, so then can we just do the couple? Do you think the minutes are quick, or do you want to do the water resources first?
No, minutes are good.
Okay, so let's do the easy one. The easiest one is the 10/13/2020. That's was a CIP meeting. I just missed having you approve them before.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
I wasn't there, so I'll abstain.
Okay, so Sarah moves, Linda seconds. We'll go through the list again. Marcia Dixon,
I wasn't here, so I'll abstain.
Linda Kuhnhart, favor. Sarah Pyle,
In favor.
Jerry Bernstein,
In favor.
Betsy recuses, Lisa Heath.
In favor.
Okay, so those are approved as presented. The next set of minutes they're about the same. The 119 is the one of the hearings for the site development, the meeting before the final site development set. That's kind of 3 pages. Any comments or corrections?
I didn't see any.
That,
Are we good?
yes,
I would move to,
I'll
Move to
move to accept as presented.
I'll second.
okay, we'll go through the list again. Marcia,
approved.
Linda Kuhnhart, approve. Sarah Pyle,
Approve.
Jerry Bernstein,
Approve.
Betsy Hardwick,
Approved.
Lisa Heath.
Approved.
Thank you. And the last set is the final site development minutes from 2/9/21.
And I didn't print those out. My only correction was on the end of the old business, giant old business paragraph. And I'm doing this from memory, where you're talking, where the vote is. I'd like to see some punctuation before the opposed. it just, when I read it quickly, it sounded like I was opposing, and I'd like to see either a semicolon or a period before your opposed parentheses and then Lisa. Did you see that, Linda?
No, hang on a sec.
Let me see if I can find it on my.
Okay, I'm gonna have to turn the volume up a little, hang on. So on the last paragraph,
It's the old business, old business paragraph, the very end of it.
the very end, like include compliance?
It's the vote paragraph.
Okay, so it says, I see the motion, I see
Oh, I
second,
see it.
the vote favor, that one, the last
Yeah,
sentence
look
pretty
under the
much?
vote and then Sarah Powell and it says oppose right after
I
it.
just want a semicolon or a period or something.
Oh, yeah, no, that
before.
should be a semicolon, yep.
That'd be
Thank you.
great.
And I had a question, and it's mostly a question, and it says amend by removing word adjourn and insert ended. Why is that?
That's on a different set. That was from the second, right?
It's the same page as Sarah's talking about, right below that.
So there was a meeting.
Oh,
On
I see, because it was a
on-
2/21. I get it.
Yeah, it was amending a previous set of minutes, right?
It's referring to the 2 minutes.
Right.
Yes, so that change of word happened in a different set of minutes, which is history.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
So with the, I'll entertain a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, well, so we'll do the roll call. Marcia,
Approved.
Linda Kuhnhardt, approve. Sarah Pyle,
Approved.
Jerry Bernstein,
Approved.
Betsy Hardwick, Lisa Heath.
Approved.
Thank you. Okay, so the minutes are done. And now we'll turn it over to Sarah for the what? Now we'll turn it over for Sarah for the water resources part. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a long conversation with Liz today. Karen had asked me because of what's going on with her personal life to take her work with Betsy and Liz on the water management. So to get myself up to speed, I had a long conversation with Liz today. And we have a meeting on the Zoom meeting on the 24th to create the 2 5-minute videos. She's currently working with Jamie and is minutes away, according to her, from having the web page that was looking for feedback up and running. And you guys all received, I hope by email, the latest draft of the chapter and the list of of our recommendations to go into that chapter. So I don't know if everybody had a chance to really drill down into the chapter. I'm hoping you all had a chance to drill down into the recommendations, because I think if we can discuss those tonight and what we support and what we don't support, then these will ultimately go into the final draft of the chapter.
Oh, you-
So, did everybody have a chance to look at the recommendations?
Yes.
How do you want to do it? Do you want us to put our hand up or what?
I just jump in.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I looked at them. So you want to comment yet?
Sure, why don't you give me comment?
So in the recommendations part, bullet number 2, I don't have a problem with the recommendation, but I don't have it, I didn't print it out in front of me. My notes say, so I don't mind the word require. They're talking about green infrastructure systems, but I didn't like, well, read that to me again, the second bullet.
Well, I actually had the same note, Linda, and I had substituted from require encourage.
Yeah.
Because I think require might be too strong. a language, review and revise land use regulations to encourage low impact development solutions such as green infrastructure systems and permeable pavement during development. So I think a requirement is too strong at this point for where we are in this town.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind requiring the permeable pavement, but I'm not ready to inquire total green infrastructure systems.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we can on a case by case basis require, but if we just use the word encourage in our recommendations, then that leaves us the leeway of requiring in some cases and not requiring where it's not appropriate.
Okay, do you think that we should vote on that language change or just go through the whole thing and then have a final vote? Because again, this is all this is master plan stuff, you know what I mean?
Right. I would suggest that we go through and discuss all the changes that people think are a good idea.
Okay.
And because she only bulleted the sections and did not number the bullets, does everybody have it in front of them, or do they want me to read the bullet out and we can discuss?
Oh, you know what? Can you share your screen and then, you know, like when we're talking
Because
about
I have it I have a hard copy printed. I mean, I could
share my screen. I've got it up. The water resource related recommendations.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you
Yeah.
shared it, then you can
So-
scroll to whatever parts people are
Share
talking
screen.
about.
Just start with the land use regulations
I have
section.
to, it says host disabled.
Jamie, can you allow Jerry to share her screen? You are now the host, Jerry.
Should be all set.
Okay. Let me see, how do I do this? Oh, okay, here we go. So I need to find it. How's that?
Great. I also have a comment on bullet 1 that actually maps through these entire things. I'm not clear, and I think from parts of the master plan chapter as well, that Liz and company may be confused with what the role of the Francistown Village Water Company is. It occurs to me that she thinks that they somehow have regulatory power, or certainly that they encompass more of the town than they do. And in fact, I made some edit recommendations in the chapter for that we change some of these things to either Concom or we include the water company, the Conservation Commission, and or just say other agencies, rather than constantly putting this in collaboration with the Village Water Company. Betsy, you are the person that's worked most closely with the water company efforts. Do you feel like this is overly putting an onus on water company stuff?
I actually think they should be involved, but maybe it should be pursued in collaboration with the Francistown Conservation Commission with input from the water company.
Yeah.
I think it is important to include them. Very important.
But not just them.
Right.
And in the land use chapter, the way it's written in one section, it makes it sound almost like the Village Water Company is responsible for supplying water to Francistown.
Right.
And I think when we say the Village of Francistown, they think the town of Francistown.
Right.
So I think we need to apprise them of the fact that it really is just the village district, not the town of Francistown.
Right. I think they may think they're a town entity and they're not.
Right, exactly. So I will have an offline conversation with Liz about that. So throughout this whole thing, I think we ought to note where it says Village Water Company. It either I think should say with, other organizations, because there may be something. I mean, Betsy, you and I talked about getting the garden club involved in doing some stuff. So I think there may be other organizations that could get involved, and we shouldn't put the onus entirely on the Village Water Company. Although I think they're doing a great job of putting a spotlight on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that first bullet, we'll change FCC and FWC. FVWC. Anybody else?
No, I
On the
think,
particular bullet,
Yeah,
what, you're gonna add Concom to it?
yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
The
Third
only other
bullet.
thing in this land use regulation section that well, actually, it's throughout. I get the thing that climate change is like popular, but I think that the word is overused, especially in this recommendation section. Once I think is adequate. I didn't particularly point out the extra times I thought it was there, but it shouldn't be overused.
maybe we can just go through and see where it is used and look at it independently rather than just make a determination about how many times it's used.
I know,
or-
I didn't
Yeah.
pick it out. I didn't highlight it.
Okay.
We can
I
see
could,
it as we
want me to
go
do
through.
a search?
I'd like Betsy's take on the next, I don't know that we need to find it. We'll find it as we go through.
All right.
I'd like Betsy's take on the riparian, on this next, on the third bullet about riparian buffers.
Oh,
Requiring a vegetative buffer along all surface waters.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay,
I do. It's very important.
How would
yeah,
you-
and I
How
think,
does
in-
that get implemented?
What did she say?
How does it get implemented if you require it and it's already existing?
I don't understand the question.
you're
Marcia, this
saying-
whole section is talking about how we will in the future modify our land use regulations. So
Zoning.
our zoning and our subdivision site development regulations.
So
Right.
it's for future development, not for current situations.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Well, yes and no. I mean, if, I think once it becomes part of the zoning, then there's grandfathering, but anytime anybody wants to do anything,
Right, moving forward.
moving forward, they would be required to maintain a vegetative buffer along all shorelines, which I agree.
Right.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. The
So
require-
it is, and we basically have that in our
Yeah.
zoning already.
That's what I was thinking. Do we need
Yeah,
to?
we do. It's just, it's, if you look at the end of it, ensure that the new regulatory language states that it will support, in other words, why.
Okay,
And I think, we can, while we basically require it, we can look at it and maybe the wetlands, there's a variation in the wetland setbacks. I think as it's written is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
okay.
I thought the only thing I didn't like in all of throughout all of the recommendations, I thought all of them were awesome, except for that word that you pulled out of the second bullet, really. The rest of them are
Yeah.
things we need to do, and we've needed to do them for a long time. I would move to approve them all, but if anybody else, I got no other comments.
I had a bunch of other comments.
Yeah, I've got another comment.
So are you saying that we should take requiring out again and substitute encourage, or I think here we could leave requiring?
I think we need to leave requirement.
Yes,
Okay.
otherwise there's no point.
Right.
Exactly. This next bullet, I actually had a problem with.
So do I.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna end up having a lot of pushback on this. And I think this is the kind of thing that might be more appropriate if we had more of a Bedford town or a town that was predominantly suburban. But with the rural nature of Francistown, and I understand that that this may at some point with development pressures become needed, but I just think at this point to focus on what, I mean, is this saying that we shouldn't allow irrigation systems to be put in front lawns? Yes, I mean, I think that's part of it. But if you
Right,
read
so
the modern ordinance,
I agree with Sarah. I would suggest that we put, instead of leaving it under land use regulations, we include that in education
yep, that was my recommendation too.
and change the wording to educate people about low, planting stuff that requires little watering, mulching,
Yeah.
educating people on ways to do efficient landscaping for water resource protection.
So
Okay,
that
so
bullet,
That makes
it
sense.
it actually, it is also mentioned in the education section. So I think if we pull that bullet out and beef up the education, where it's noted under education, we're good.
Yeah, so actually, I disagree with you all. I think the wording is appropriate for this. It says consider it. It's not saying to do it. It's saying to consider it. And especially in these drought years now, with that word climate change, we're going to get drier, hotter summers. And I live in my deep well gets pretty low, and when I'm going to get more development, when people suck out of the same little narrow bedrock drift of water, and they're irrigating their lawn and they're mowing it twice a week and irrigating it every third day, that bothers me if that's where my water comes from. So it is time to consider it. Not saying we have to do it in the next 10 years, but we should consider it. Sure, yes, it needs to be in the education too, but I think it's totally the time to put it in there that it's to be considered.
Actually, Linda, I think I agree. Yeah, that's a good point. It just says consider, and it's not like, this is, the master plan, it could be our only master plan for a while. In 5, 6, 7, 8 years, we may really want to do that. So I think you're right. It's good to leave it there.
I disagree. I think it's gonna send up some, oh, you guys are over the top red flags.
I agree
Well,
with you, Sarah.
when
I
it
think
goes
it's
to the
too-
part where we get to, the public hearing thing, the discussion of the public hearing, at that point, if there's objections, we can take it out.
I think it's too much regulation. You're going to get
Not regulation.
pushback on it, and
This isn't a
may-
regulation, it's a recommendation.
I
There's no
understand that.
requirement.
but it will be a regulation.
No,
Not necessarily.
no.
No,
There's a
not
lot more
necessarily,
process.
but I just think, if the majority of us want to leave it in, but I think it's the kind of thing that's going to make us get a reputation for going overboard.
I agree.
I think putting it in the education piece is absolutely right.
Okay, let's take a poll. Linda Kuhnhart
Okay.
stays in. Marcia Dixon.
Which are we voting for, yours or Sarah's?
Considering adopting the efficient landscape regulations.
Vote in or out.
Out.
Sarah Pyle,
Out.
Jerry Bernstein,
Out.
Lisa Heath.
Out.
What does it say?
Out.
And Betsy Hardwick.
In,
Okay, so I guess it's out.
Okay. Develop and adopt land use regulations related to the protection and stability of highly erodible soils and steep slopes. My question on this is, do we need more stringent steep slope?
I don't know. I didn't think we were doing too bad.
No, and in fact, if you read their model ordinance that she is pointing to, ours is, I think in a couple of cases, more restrictive than the model ordinance is.
right.
The only thing we don't have is any regulation of highly erodible soils in like a 15% agricultural field or something like that, that would be considered highly erodible, may be considered, but may also not be, depending on the soils.
So what if we change that to review existing regulations?
Yep.
Yeah, so you could change it to review existing regulations and consider adoption if necessary. How's that go?
Or just say review existing regulations related to the protection and stabilization of highly
Yes.
erodible and steep slopes.
Right.
That's fine.
That's good.
Okay. And then review uses, setbacks, and construction criteria allowed within the 100-year flood boundaries.
Don't they change all the time?
That's okay. It
Um,
says review. We can leave it.
There's a considerable amount of Francistown that's in the 100-year floodplain. And do
Yeah.
we have any ordinance that says you can't build in a 100-year floodplain?
Can't remember.
I couldn't find any in a quick look today.
We don't have very much of it. Most of our 100-year floodplain is already regulated under the Rivers Act.
Right.
I think it can just say, I don't think it needs to be changed. Jerry, can you scroll down so I can see
Sure.
more of it while we're sitting here?
So just leave it as review.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Have we thought about looking at our wetland setbacks and increasing them at all?
That'll give us pushback.
Yeah, it would.
I know.
No, I don't. It's not about, I think one thing we do need to do in the wetlands is the language. Some of the language in there doesn't make any sense. It needs to be, the language in our existing ordinance needs to be reviewed.
Okay.
And that's what this has to do.
Yeah, it just needs to be reviewed.
Do we want to consider acquiring a larger shoreline buffer?
I'd love a larger shoreline buffer, but
I would too.
But remember I remember specifically the discussion when we increased the wetland setback to 100 foot. We went from 50 to 75 to 100 to 75. There was a lot of public pushback. I'm not sure how much that has changed right now.
Can't hear
That's
you,
it.
Betsy.
What's that?
I can't hear you.
Speaking.
Yeah, because I'm trying to read this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
It says, currently the only permitted uses are those that do not require structures, excavation, etc. It says, consider requiring a larger shoreline buffer for these activities in the overlay district. So I think we leave it as is.
okay,
It's just to review it and
okay.
consider. And there are things in that we should be considering, definitely. That's one of the reasons why I wanted this. You know, we talked about changing that part of the ordinance, and this is what we're waiting for, is this.
Right, to give us a reason for it.
Yeah,
Okay, what about the next bullet, shoreline district? She has some questions. It does, my understanding is does not include wet unnamed streams at this point. Is that?
so in this particular one, this is my major issue with what we currently have in our zoning, is it references that outdated 1989 water resource plan and the maps, and it is missing lots of streams.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, yeah. That needs to be we need to update the reference.
no, I forgot to double check the natural resources inventory. Does that include all the unnamed streams?
It includes all the ones that we could find, Linda. If you remember, we added some that weren't even on the national database because we know they're there. We've physically inspected them. So I think we could use as a reference the NRI maps.
Yes, that's what, if we could change the reference in this document
Yeah.
to be that reference
NRI.
map, then this bullet can get changed to
Yep.
indicate that.
So any other pond and perennial stream, if you have of any other pond or perennial stream listed in the 2015
13.
NRI, when was that
13.
adopted? Is it 15?
Well, 13.
13. Okay,
So what we should be doing here is making a recommendation that we update our reference in the zoning, right?
yes.
Yes.
Jerry, can you go back to the bullet before that one? can you guys look at in the middle where it says currently, the only permitted uses in this district are those that do not require construction of structures, excavation or dredging such as forestry, agriculture and natural tree, nature trails? Is that saying you can't do anything in that area if you wanted to construct a nature trail? Is that what it's saying?
No,
No.
it's
What
saying
is
that
it?
nature trail is one of the few things you can do in that area.
Yeah, but isn't that unusual wording?
No, it's saying that if you want to do any of these things, you can do them within reason if you follow best management practices and do them in a way that will not adversely impact the shorelands district. They are doable. There are guidelines. It's
Okay.
not saying you can't do it, saying that you can't like take a bulldozer down and make a 12-foot road. You
Well,
can
no.
make a little nature trail.
Okay, so you're comfortable with the wording. That's fine.
And the last part of that bit in red, enforcement or monitoring issues. It's just a question. At the moment, we really don't have monitoring of that, do we?
No, currently our main enforcement is for the building inspector when he goes out for a permit to make sure that people do or don't do what they're supposed to and don't do what they're not supposed to.
But if someone goes down and cuts all the trees on their river frontage, they're not going to tell the building inspector they're doing it. So the only monitoring we have is if somebody happens to be wandering around and sees a clear cut of a,
Yes, it becomes a selectman fine business.
right. So do we want to,
You can't.
do we want to say anything about monitoring and enforcement? Do we want to talk about how we monitor and enforce?
You could, but I haven't got any text prepared.
What do other towns do? Do we know?
I do know that the state of New Hampshire regulates the amount of money that you can find certain things for. And I don't know if we're at the maximum, but it's usually not enough.
No, I mean in terms of monitoring.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't know that you really can.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about, so we're not going to go walk, if people's land is posted, you're not going to go walk in their land you have no right to.
Right.
Right.
If it's not, it's like, you know, even the state violations, you have to legally see them. The state doesn't come out and check to make sure people are obeying the law. And
Right.
you have no right to go on people's land. If it's posted, you have no right to be there. So that's, I'm not
So
sure
there's
what they
no
mean by
oversight.
that.
I'm not sure they do either. I just thought we ought to discuss it so
And
I can tell her
Yeah, and it says, has there been success with riparian buffer preservation? By what means? I don't understand their question.
Yep. Okay, I will go back with that answer.
I mean, you know, as a planning board anyways. Other than that, you know, we've put the condition on, we've put some of our subdivisions, we've put large setbacks where they can't touch the riparian buffer, you know, you can't do any cuts or anything. But we have, again, I don't know how we would enforce that.
Right.
You know, the only way that we can enforce it is through the selectman's ability to fine for
Yeah,
disobeying regulations or zoning ordinances.
Right.
The planning board can't do it. We can't hire
No.
someone to do it for us. It's a selectman function.
Agreed. But I do think that we could focus on the education side of it, because I think that's more than anything how we're gonna get that solved. Okay, under next section is everybody comfortable with what the changes we've made so far?
Yep.
Okay, strategic land conservation, and water protection. The town's many cold water headwater streams on which Piscataqua water quality depends have no formal protection. Identify conservation opportunities in collaboration with the Francistown Land Trust. I think we ought to say with the Conservation Commission and the Land Trust, right?
yeah. Yes,
Hello. And other potential land protection partners to protect the Scatacog's water quality. I got good with that, other than adding conservation to it.
well, the only other thing there is, that is already the focus of both the Conservation Commission and the Land Trust.
Right,
And in the section above, the reason this is not, the reason these haven't been protected yet is because of the old reference. So now that we're changing to the 2013 NRI reference, that will take care of this paragraph.
yeah. But I also think that the fact that we're identifying that we should continue to work with those groups is a good thing to have in here.
Yes, this is fine. I like it.
Okay.
Anybody have any problem with the next bullet? Except for the assisting the Francistown Village Water Company with identification, priorities, and purchase of parcels. They're not going to be the group that does that. It's going to be either Concom or FLT, right? Well, they might protect wellheads.
They could. Yeah,
So
they
should I
could.
mention all three?
Yes,
The thing about the Francistown Village Water Company is they're big enough to attract DES funding. You know, they're an entity. It's good to have, the more entities you have, the better ability you have to get grant money.
Yep.
Okay, let's move along.
Okay, so just change that so it's going to be the three entities. Land Trust, Concom, and Village Water. Anybody
Next.
have any problem with the next bullet? Working with the DES and Volunteer Lakes Program,
nope, sounds good.
and identify grant opportunities from NHDES? Okay, so I'm good with the rest of that. Education. I think bullet one is good. Any comments?
Nope, I like them all.
Bullet two, again, partner with FWC to host public education workshops. I'd like to actually change that to partner with other town and community organizations to host public education workshops.
Yes,
That makes sense.
Bullet three, support Francistown Village efforts to bring source water protection lessons to local schools. Does the Village Water Company have a specific program?
yeah, well, when we did the water resource plan,
Yeah.
one of the principal of the school was on that committee, and yes, they did.
Are they
They-
continuing that program?
Not right now, I don't think, because of COVID.
Are they thinking about continuing it? I mean,
I
is that
don't
something
know.
that we should leave in, or was that a one and done?
Leaving things in is good at the moment, and hopefully we'll get more back to normal.
Yes. Okay, so leave that. And Project Wet, same sort of idea.
Same thing in a different year when they can do things out that would be,
Right.
they'd probably enjoy it.
What about adding, because the Conservation Commission does a lot of education about water resources and just conservation resources with the schools. Do you want to put something about the Concom's education?
Yeah, no,
No? The technical assistance program to private working lands to protect public and private drinking water. Is that, we don't have enough private working lands in town, but I'm okay with just leaving it.
Yeah, you have more than you know. And
Yeah,
that's a good program, and if people
Okay.
can use it, they will use it. And
Okay.
and the advice they get and the assistance they get is really good.
it is excellent. In fact, the Land Trust is using them. The Conservation Commission has used them, and there's other private landowners, including some of the farmers in town that have used them.
Okay, good to know. Sorry. Next bullet, partner with the Village Water Company to provide BMP information to highway and fire departments, utilize New Hampshire DES Clean Drinking Water brochure and their best method for groundwater protection. I'm not sure the Village Water Company is the best group to go to the highway and fire departments.
Yeah, you might just take them out and just let's partner with and assume that it's the planning board that will partner with, right?
Yeah, but I will say that the Francistown Village Water Company did go talk to them and visited their buildings when we were working on that plan.
They did.
Yes, they did. And they are actually very pleased with what they found. The highway and fire departments are very conscientious.
Yes, I agree with that. Is the Village Company going to continue on with that Village Water Company, or was that just for
think
that
it was just
study?
part of the study, so I agree, just partner to provide, yeah.
Well, we could go back to town and community organizations.
Yeah,
Okay. And again, partner with Village Water to provide educational materials related to water protection, best management practices. Again, I don't think we should be signaling out just the Village Water Company.
no, that's not really their job.
Right.
It might be for the Village Water Company, but it's not their primary job.
So why don't we just take provide educate, just take the first four words out, provide educational materials to water protection, best management practice, climate change.
No, I think the word partner is a needed word these days.
Partner
I'll
with
say-
other,
okay.
yeah, partner with other organizations
Okay,
or partner with the Conservation Commission.
okay.
Yeah, partner with the Conservation Commission and other natural resource organizations.
Okay. Anything else in that bullet? It's a long bullet.
There's one of my one of my hated climate change words.
Where's that, Linda?
It's in the second sentence, first, second clause, or it's first sentence. So the second line.
Mhm.
I think it's important there, though.
Yeah, I actually do too. Because I think that part of what part of the impact that we're seeing in some of these issues is caused by climate change. Okay. So leave that.
Yeah,
Create low impact development demonstration projects on municipal sites with other partners. Rain gardens, bioswales, rainwater. I actually think that might be fun to do with the garden club.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Provide outreach and education to homeowners related to household hazardous waste collection.
Oh, yeah.
Install signage that identifies drinking water source protection areas in the community. I think
And with
that's a
that,
good
we'd have
idea
to
too.
We'd have to put
Oh,
one on
we should-
everybody's lawn.
Yeah. No, but wouldn't it be fun to be wandering through the town forest and see a sign that says this is a drinking water, this is a source of headwater or whatever? I think that might
Yeah.
be an interesting education for people.
Actually, I think it would provoke a lot of thought
Yeah, I
and
agree.
sensitivity.
Okay, training and emergency response. Communicate directly with the police and fire to ensure that they remain aware of the drinking water source locations and necessary protective measures. Betsy?
that's, yeah, that's good. And actually, the Village Water Company did this. They worked with them and they did a fake accident with an oil truck in next to the wellheads.
Oh, yes.
Oh, when was
Yeah.
that?
So I think that whole section's good.
Okay. And how about water body specific section? I thought that was all good too.
Well, the only thing that I
Well,
wonder,
so-
it says identify how to reduce phosphorus loading into Pleasant Pond. It's Scobie Pond that it actually is the one that's been identified as
They found
impaired.
Pleasant phosphorus on Pleasant Pond last year too. They both have it.
So it should say both.
Yeah. Well, the next one says phosphorus for, and also they keep referring to it as Haunted
Okay.
Lake. But I think if we ought to, I think Scobie is the more standard. So if we're going to use haunted, I think we have to do Scobie Pond / Haunted Lake.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
both.
yeah,
Because
bullet
the
two,
state identifies it as Haunted Lake.
Yeah, so
yeah, I
you're gonna-
know.
You're gonna use both?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I like both.
Okay, is it EY or just plain Y?
I.e.
IE? And it didn't mention anything about milfoil unless, is chlorophyll milfoil? No, it's a
No.
different thing. Yeah. So should we mention anything about
I
milfoil?
was thinking about that too. I don't know where it fits.
Monitor ongoing milfoil efforts on Pleasant, on both
Pleasant-
ponds, actually.
On both ponds.
I
Yeah.
don't think this is where we talk about controlling milfoil.
Where do we talk about that? Or do we talk about that? Yeah, where do we talk about that?
Well,
We talk about it
the-
everywhere,
I
but
guess
why
we could
does it
talk
not affect water quality? No?
Yeah.
It's more like in the education section, like for instance, she's not mentioning here how deep Pleasant Pond is versus how deep Shattuck Pond, I don't know how deep. The biggest reason Scobie, quote, Haunted Lake has problems is it's not very deep. That's a
Right.
huge, it increases the ability for phosphorus to cause problems. So, we could go into like this whole thing about the differences in the ponds. It's not phosphorus that's making the milfoil grow exactly. It's the milfoil itself is making more of itself grow. It's when it decomposes, it releases stuff and it encourages more. I wouldn't go there. In order to talk about it, would have to use pages and pages. There's no bullet, which is why she wisely left it out.
I don't know, but there is some educational value in keeping the quality of these ponds in the best possible way that we can.
So
by-
why, right.
Yeah,
So
but
why
this is-
couldn't we just,
educating how to prevent milfoil.
In the education section, right?
That we prioritize monitoring and treating the milfoil issue.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck in front of the furnace. I'm having a really hard time to hear you.
why couldn't we just put a bullet at the end that just says something about continuing to monitor and monitor for and manage milfoil in our ponds?
Okay,
Yep.
that sounds good.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm good with that.
And put a ponds because it's even Shattuck or the
Yeah,
smaller ones. And the rivers can be impacted.
okay. Do you want to say in ponds and rivers or just in ponds?
Just in ponds.
Okay.
that's it.
Okay.
We're talking about the
Um,
chapter?
Yes, do we want to get into the chapter?
Yes.
Has everybody got,
I did not bring it. I could not print it out.
I can put it up.
Do you guys care if there are typos in that master plan?
Yeah, I care
Um,
deeply.
Yeah, there are a
Okay,
bunch
well,
of typos in it, and there are a
there-
bunch of factual errors in it
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, right. Right.
I can find out 3 typos. If you want.
Yeah, I think we might as well, while we're going through it.
Let's just,
Yeah.
as long as if nobody has a comment right away, we'll just move to the next thing quick. You know, like, but bullet, if everybody's agreeing, we can cut the time period on the thing we all agree on and go to the next one.
Yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. Let's do it by page then. On page 4, does everybody got it?
You want me to put it up?
Yeah, I want Jerry to
Please.
put it up.
Hold on, I've got to remember how to do this. Here we go.
I don't think that's it.
119. Oh, no, that's the first
No,
one.
that's the older one.
Okay, just a second. I'll get
The
it.
new one has the very pretty front cover.
Right.
And what I can't remember in your email, is this the piece that didn't get fully formatted yet or fixed or whatever? Can't remember what your email said.
Her email said that this is still a work in progress. Basically, they're going to do a reformat of things. So, like, for instance, I think the photographs are
Great.
are too close to the margins. Just visually, I think it's too big, but I don't know how everybody else feels.
Yeah, I thought I liked the photos. The only thing again, attributes. I don't think you need to have them on every photo. If there's just a place at the end of the document that talks about what page photo it is, you know.
Agreed, but I think it should say what they, not if the author, I mean, if the photographer wants some a credit, I think we should include that. But I also think it would be cooler for people to know where these things are that the pictures are. So I would like to see
Yeah, that's what I
either a
want.
small caption on the photo themselves, which is the easiest way to do it,
Yeah.
or a photo credit or a photo list at the back.
Yeah.
I prefer to see them captioned.
I agree. Right
Either
there.
or. Yep.
Okay.
Go to page 1.
Yep.
Why can't I get rid of this stupid thing? So I noticed in the goals that there's no goal that talks about protecting groundwater. I thought that was a serious omission. Because most of maybe it's the part where she thinks the Francistown Village Company provides more water to the town than it does, because most of our residential drinking water comes from groundwater sources.
Right.
Right. That needs to be added.
Okay, so another bullet under these goals are, and how do we want to put it?
what does
Protect
it say?
groundwater, protect,
Right, so like the first bullet talks about protecting Francistown surface waters. So now another bullet should say protecting the quality of Francistown's groundwater sources, which has been, I don't have the other half of it. Groundwater sources being the main residential drinking sources.
yeah. Okay,
Maybe it doesn't even need another bullet. It can just add to the first one and protect the quality of Francistown groundwater sources, the primary source for drinking water within Francistown.
yeah, I actually think that should be either the first or the second, but for instance, service waters and then protect the groundwater should be the next one. Then go on to preserve aquatic habitat.
Okay.
Oh, here's another climate change.
Where are you? Oh, yeah.
The last bullet
Oh, yeah.
on page 1.
That's probably the one I didn't like. I just liked having it to increase resiliency, because it doesn't matter if we have climate change or not, we're still going to need to be resilient. You know,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Right. Right. You don't need that in there. The word resiliency covers that.
Absolutely.
for whatever reason. Maybe
Yep.
it's a drought. Who knows?
So just have it say increase resiliency through the preservation of water resources, especially floodplains, forested wetlands. Should we add groundwater to this list as well?
No, not here.
No, it does, it actually doesn't fit. Okay. Page 5. The other thing is, I think that part 1 should start on a right-hand page. So I'm going to suggest that we add a blank page 4, or that we move the table of contents to the back of the cover, so that we're not starting part 1 on a left-hand page for the printed version. Just a
Right.
formatting thing. Okay, page 5.
Oh, page 5, it's just a typo. That's one of those typo things that'll get fixed.
Where is it?
It's the word, I can't see it. It's became tiny, hang on.
Can you increase it a little bit, Jerry?
Yeah, I'll have to scroll because,
Thanks.
yep.
Where did I see the typo? Second paragraph, so. Can't see it.
This paragraph?
I think so. Is that page 5?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
the following water resources. THIE.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Okay, got it. I didn't see that first run through, so thanks.
Oh, yeah.
I also thought this was kind of a little kludgy, the 3 circles and then the big blue box, but it's all right.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
Uh,
My next thing is page 8.
Okay, well, let's do
Wait a minute. Go ahead.
5. Page 6. Anybody have anything on page 6, introduction?
No.
Anything on page 7?
Nope.
Okay, Linda, page 8.
There's a clause that says around approximately 69%. Oh yeah, so right there at the top, the majority of Francistown parenthetically, I would remove the parentheses there, because nothing, all the rest of them have the same percentage discussion with no parentheses. So I would just take the parentheses out. You could leave the language, it just disappear the parentheses.
Okay, we might do a comma offset because it is a clause.
Right.
Also, maybe I'm not reading this correctly, but did everybody else clear on how the hydrological flow was shown on this map?
Yeah, but I guess I look at maps so often, it's just familiar to me.
Yeah, see, I think I couldn't see specific topography that was clear to me that would make me understand it. So I don't know if it needs to have to be more of a layperson's. So I don't read this kind of map all the time, and I wasn't clear how you could tell the hydrological flow from this map.
It wasn't.
The other
clear
thing
me
to
either.
remember is that, I didn't see it in the document yet, but to be sure to have direction towards the natural resources inventory, because there are different types of maps in there, and you will no one will ever be satisfied with a single map. You often need 2 or 3 to get a full picture.
I hear what you're saying, Linda, but if the map is entitled hydrological flow, and unless you're really used to reading maps, you can't look at this and tell what the hydrological flow is. I mean, Betsy and Linda, I get that you might be able to read it. The rest of us that are not so, all Jerry, Marcia,
It doesn't,
Linda?
I can't glean.
Can you
how
scroll
the flow is.
up?
Up? Yeah.
So what is I need to see like the title of the section, whatever. Okay, now, so watershed. So now go down. So go down more. She might just have it labeled wrong. Go down more. So back up. She might, the name of this might need to change because it's
Yeah.
really showing transmissivities. It's showing more.
Exactly.
That's
So
right.
it might be mislabeled and I can't, because I'm seeing Jerry's screen, which doesn't show me a full page. I have a hard time helping fix the name of it.
It is the transmissivity map, and I think it's almost identical to the one that's in the NRI, isn't it?
I don't know, I can't see that from here.
So when we call it the transmissivity.
Yeah, I mean, if it were called that, that's different, but it isn't. And it refers to in the chapter that if you refer to the map, you can tell the way that and it doesn't to me. It explains how higher elevations flow to lower elevations.
Yeah,
which
this is
as if
the
we wouldn't know
NRI,
that.
it's called the Stratified Drift Aquifer and Public Water Supplies Map. Let me look for what this one.
All right, I'll address this with Liz and see what she comes up with as a.
Yeah, if she wants
an
to show a
idea.
flow map, she may need less of the aquifer stuff. Have that be relabeled as the aquifer transmissivity map, and then just put something with arrows about where the flow goes. But
Right.
Oh, that's a good idea.
arrows though.
Shouldn't we be consistent and include Scobie with Haunted Lake for the name?
Yes. And we're spelling it IE.
Most
That's
often,
it.
I think that's what's in the NRI. You could check that.
I'm sorry, I missed that. That's what's in the what?
I think that's what's in the NRI.
Okay. Then let's be consistent. Okay, is that it on page 8? Page 9. Am I right in on the left paragraph, left column, second paragraph that Haunted Lake, it talks about the portion of Middle Branch that goes to Haunted Lake, and then it says, and into the town of Ware. Does it not enter into the town of New Boston from there?
Take it back up.
I'm talking about the next page down, Jerry.
Right. I just wanted to go back and look at the map for a sec.
Francetown lands, the Middle Branch subwatershed southward into Haunted Lake, and then eastward from the lake into the town of Ware. I think it goes into New Boston from there.
Yeah, it does. It goes into.
That's
New
correct.
Boston.
Yeah, it should be New Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good catch.
It should be New Boston. I wonder if it's wrong in the NRI.
I don't know.
Oh, look.
But she also talks about Denison Pond being half in Francistown and half in Ware. So they may be confused as to which town is directly to the east of us.
Yep. Right. I think they
So
are.
I made that correction further on.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I saw on this page, but I do think we'll go through and do a further drill down and make sure we have everything, but
And you're changing everything from Haunted Lake to Scobie /
yes.
Okay.
no, we're gonna have
Or we
both,
could,
right?
to both Haunted
Right,
Lake slash.
Yeah.
What page is this page? That's up
Uh,
now.
Page is, wow, what page is
Page-
this page?
Page 10, the one with no page on it.
It
Oh,
looks
page
like
9.
9.
Sorry. How'd I lose a page? Oh, there we go.
This is now page 10.
Yep. Okay, page 10 is steep slopes, highly erodible soils. I didn't see
problem.
anything.
Okay, how about
Anybody?
page,
We good?
good.
Page 11.
Good.
There's one thing. Page 12, the very top.
Wait a minute.
It's Shattuck Pond at the end of that. I think it's just a typo. Because none of the others mention the next pond.
This is 12, right? Showing now?
Page 12, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it's a typo.
Yep.
And
And then again, under Dennison Pond, it says half the pond is located in neighboring Ware. which
so
should be New
in the,
Boston.
in the paragraph with Shattuck Pond,
Yep,
I would propose striking the sentence that says, it's down the bottom, it's the second to last sentence under Shattuck Pond. I would propose striking the sentence that says, this road is very rough and only passable by four-wheel drive vehicles.
you think that's an
Because-
invitation?
Exactly.
So can I ask, in the, you see where it says Shattuck Pond and it's in bold? Up above that, why is the Shattuck Pond there? In the
Yeah, we-
colon after it? Is that an error?
Yeah,
Because that's
I
under
think that's just a
Scobie.
typo. We should take that out.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Linda, that we could take that sentence out and we wouldn't miss anything.
No, and I'll tell you, I put that in there and only because they had it that it was accessed by Old County Road.
I just figure if people want to drive there and they're too stupid and they get stuck, that's
Yeah.
their business, but I don't want to invite them to go drive there.
No, I prefer to take it out. I agree.
Yep, so we, only thing we say is the pond may be accessed via Shattuck Pond Road and non-maintained town road. And leave it at that.
Yep.
Okay, I'm good. There's a limited access for small boats. Okay,
wait a minute, in the riparian, here, in the repair, how do you, riparian buffers work? Second, paragraph down, see where it says chemicals from, and it's one word. I think that's 2 words, right?
oh, you're on the next page.
Right,
Yeah,
the one that,
I have more on page 12 if you go back down. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go, I'm on page, I think we should be on page 12.
So in the Dennison Pond paragraph, it's unclear to me if she's speaking only about Francistown land or is she speaking about land in both Francistown and Ware? That's not clear.
No, and I'm not sure it's true either.
This was the only paragraph in the whole report and the whole recommendations that I was unclear on her intent.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I don't know about what the sentence, there's a sentence in there, where is it? However, or it's a parenthetical phrase. However, it's virtually all open space surrounding the pond. Does she mean it's undeveloped or does she mean it's protected?
Yeah, open space is probably not the right term. It's undeveloped.
I could support undeveloped. If it's not protected, then it's undeveloped. It's not
Yeah.
open space. Open space has a connotation of protection.
Okay,
Actually,
so
open space means undeveloped. The state actually has a definition, and it does mean, but not everybody knows that. So I would put undeveloped.
okay. And it's virtually all undeveloped land surrounding the pond. There are no roads that lead to this pond. I know that's true in Francistown. There's nothing in New Boston either, right?
What was that?
A road that leads to Dennison Pond from New Boston?
No, it abuts where?
It doesn't.
Didn't it happen where?
No, it's in New
It's in
Boston.
New Boston.
There were no roads.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Is that Beulah chewing on it?
No, that's not from me. I'm hearing it too. Somebody else is chewing.
Somebody's
I
got
thought
their,
that was your dog toy.
oh, they dropped their dog toy.
Anything under rivet, the only thing I had a problem with is a formatting thing. I didn't think we should start a sentence with one word on page 12, the, so I was gonna ask them to move, put a page break in there. 12, okay, page 13. In the place that Marcia was just talking about, middle of the first paragraph after Whiting Brook, I think actually that should be a new paragraph.
Where are you, Sarah?
Wait a minute.
Here,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
not-
I'm on page 13,
at the bottom. Yeah.
under the first actual paragraph, not the
Right.
riparian
Not the
buffers
Yep.
box. Halfway through the first paragraph, it talks about Collins Brook, Whiting Brook, and then period. And then I think riparian buffers or vegetative buffers should be a whole new paragraph. She's changing the subject.
Can I
Yeah.
go back? Can I see what it's the beginning of that paragraph?
Yeah.
No, go
There's the-
down. No, I think it fits.
Yeah, I do too.
You think
Yeah.
it's the same paragraph?
Yeah. Because riparian means stream side, so,
No,
yeah.
I understand that, but the previous paragraph is talking about the specific brooks. Then she changes the subject to talk about in the next two paragraphs, the remainder of this paragraph and the next, she talks about riparian. So it just was jarring to me. And I thought there was an end to the
No.
the streams bit, and then, okay, then let's talk about riparian buffers, which refers to it. It shouldn't be a separate section, just a separate paragraph. But if you guys think it should be the same paragraph.
I like it the way it is. Having it split the way it does actually, to me, enforces riparian buffer discussion more than if you stuck all discussion about riparian buffers in a single paragraph.
Because it is directly related to those streams.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
If you want to scroll back up, you can catch a typo potentially right there in the first filters, sediments, nutrients, pollution, and chemicals from runoff. Your chemicals from is one word.
Where are you at the?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
There's no space.
yeah.
The blue bolded title of the
First
first
bullet.
bullet.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Marcia. I didn't see that.
Yep.
Okay, anything else on page 13? Page 14.
It's good.
Page 15.
Looks good.
16.
An indication of why we don't need to really ramp up our regulations concerning work in floodplains.
Yeah. Okay, 17. At the end of the groundwater discussion, the top of the second column, they are blended together and serve as the community's primary water source. I think that should say the village district's primary water source.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yep.
And then in the last sentence where it says the remaining households, I should think it should say the majority of households and businesses in town are served by private wells.
Super majority.
Right, so, or we could say most households and businesses in town are served by private wells, which is better. The
Most.
remaining makes it sound like there's only a few.
Yeah, should be most households
Okay,
and businesses.
Tom is feeding his chickens.
yeah, I would say all that wildlife news is not coming from the Pile House for a change. 17, okay. And was anything else on 17? 18? $19.
I don't think it's straight, Scott.
I hate page 20.
What?
I don't remember page.
Oh, I do
Oh,
too.
I,
That is
I
great.
liked it. Silly
I
me.
hate page 20.
I
I
don't
think
know
that
where to
looks
look
like a
first.
four.
I
I thought
liked
it was
it.
cool looking.
I liked it.
Yes, it's totally different from everything else, but the color scheme is the same. I thought it was an interesting visual experience.
It makes my head hurt.
Me too.
That's okay. Other people.
None of it
really-
hangs together. It just looks hodgepodgey. I mean, if it were done more artistically, but it's a mess.
I actually think that information is important.
I agree, but I think it should be done in a way where it doesn't make my eyes hurt.
But I like it.
I liked it too.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
I don't have a problem with it. I
Ew.
think it's kind of easy to understand.
I think the information's all fabulous. I think it's painful to look at.
Okay, well,
There's no priority or kind of hierarchy. Anyway, I just can't figure it out. It takes a lot of work,
Maybe,
but if
I
no
don't
one
know.
else thinks that, well, Sarah, I think you and I are.
we
You're
both
outvoted.
trained graphic designers, Jerry. That's why
No,
it's
this
getting
is
to us.
exactly the problem.
It's, yeah,
Our
it's
eyes
just
look at it
offending the
differently.
crap out of me.
Mhm.
But, okay.
Okay.
Where are we? Page 19, 21, part 3.
Okay, there's a typo here someplace. First paragraph.
Anything on 21?
Just a
Do you
minute.
have a typo on?
Yeah, but I gotta find it. It says the end of the first paragraph surfaced and it says GROUN, but there's no D. And I didn't,
First paragraph on 21?
I'm trying to find it.
Getting the surface water and groundwater resources.
No, not seeing it now. Potential threats to. Oh, well, it's not going to be in the introduction. I don't think it's on that page.
Okay.
Here we go. It's
22, page 22.
Yeah, it's going to be in this. Just a second.
Oh, it is, it's at the end of that first paragraph.
Yep, here you go.
Yeah,
GROUN, and it needs a
missing the
D.
D.
How many lines down? Oh, ground. Okay, see it. Last line. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Everybody love the artwork on this one too? Page 23.
Okay, so under the automobile salvage yards, they're
Yeah,
referring here also to at 125 Pleasant Pond Road, Philbrook Junkyard.
yep.
That's no longer existing, is it?
Well, yeah, still a contaminant, but it should say there, Cameron's is not an automobile salvage yard.
No, it's not. It says automobile service.
Right.
And you know, that's another discussion, but we've got I think we've got an enforcement issue there. The planning board needs to take a role in, I mean, that a previous planning board said that was an in-home business and from what Henry promised at the time, maybe they could have reached that, but considering what Henry's doing now, it is not meeting the in-home business. He has no special exception to do that work and or a site plan review. And if we're gonna, and we're starting to see other small businesses pop up in that neighborhood and other neighborhoods in town, and if we don't deal with Camerons, how do we jump up and down about other small businesses that are coming to be home businesses with 3 trucks and they're getting yelled at? That's just an aside. I think we need to talk about it at some point. But as far as in this chapter,
Yeah, that's really wrong.
It is.
okay,
Oh,
so,
And the junkyard's wrong.
No, actually, Marcia, it
This,
may not be there, but it's still a contaminant because of the stuff that has been there and that's been in the soil.
Okay.
We definitely need to leave that there because that's what we're
Okay.
talking about.
okay,
and
Thank
isn't
you.
there another automobile salvage yard up on, beyond Donny Abbott's?
No,
Okay,
no, they had, the selectmen had him remove everything.
okay.
So do we want to say automobile service and salvage yards?
Yeah, that whole thing needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, I agree.
Automobile stockpile areas.
Maybe I actually like Jerry's idea of service and salvage.
Salvage.
And then I can explain to Liz what's going on and then see
Yeah.
if they can suggest new language.
Right, but to go back to the Philbrooks, that is definitely, yeah, that's still a potential hazard.
got it.
And it's identified by the state.
Um,
Just a question. Do we want to reference it as Philbrook or is the street address enough?
I would look at what's on this, I think it's probably called Philbrook Junkyard at the state, and this information most likely came from the Village Water Company plan.
yeah,
Okay. And all that information came from the state data sources.
Okay.
do we want to say something about the Philbrook junkyard is no longer active or
Yeah,
just leave it?
no, I think we could put that, it's no longer active, but it's still a risk.
Right.
The site is.
So now, back to the part with the other document. I get mixed up. One thing here in this automobile stuff, it's the whole part about how you find out stuff. There's a lot of places in town that have vehicles that are parked in places where they shouldn't be parked and aren't being used. And I get the part about people can have stuff on their property. I'm a big proponent of stuff. I like stuff myself. But there are places that really, except for the part where they're not selling parts, have more autos than an actual automobile salvage yard, but they're not considered anything. Yet to me, they pose a huge risk to the groundwater because exactly that. No one's regulating them because they aren't anything. They just have 20 cars. Does it go here? Do we have a discussion about it here? Or is it the fact that they're not identified? You can't talk about them here. Is that just something that goes into the education component?
That's- Education and maybe potential risks.
Yes, potential risk. So I can't, like right now, I can't remember what the first document was, the recommendations. I don't think we talked about not having people pile up unusable automobiles on their lot.
We did not.
But that's something that seems to be expanding in town.
Right.
So I don't know where to put it or how to get it addressed. Maybe Liz will have a clue.
Yeah, I'll put it under land use land use regulations section and just have her talk about salvage and junkyards. Right?
Yeah, and homeowner accumulation of excess unusable vehicles.
Yep.
Right.
I got one in front of my barn that I'm trying to get rid of.
Right, like I said, there's having them and then there's having too many in the wrong place.
Yeah. Okay. Page 24. Under the underground storage tank sites. There's no discussion about the fact that, like, for instance, it mentions the village store 5 tanks, but that's currently under a state-led super fund paid for cleanup effort. And I also thought that the town offices tank was pumped and filled with sand, right?
Right.
So there's no discussion about, and so was the one at the library and somewhere else in town. So there's no discussion at all about the fact that they're no longer in use underground storage tank.
I think you're right. I think, yeah, there's a lot of things in there that aren't right.
Yeah,
But again, so is it just adding that language that they're no longer in use, but they have to be here because they're potential contamination sites?
but the
No,
thing is,
Francistown Town Office one, I'm pretty sure that was taken care of.
and the one at the library and the one at the old town offices, those were all pumped out, filled with sand and considered safe. So I don't think they
Right.
need to be mentioned.
But
And
is
I
the
know
tank itself, is the tank
Huh?
itself corrosive? I mean, potential?
No,
It's not, okay.
no.
Right now in the, on the Francistown.
Speak up,
NRI
Linda.
Well, what? Sorry. In the NRI, I think it's showing groundwater remediation sites in the downtown area, like below where Oak Hill comes out. Looks like it's probably the library and the town offices. I don't know if there's a list here.
Right, they were remediation, so they've been remediated.
Right,
It doesn't explain that here.
right. And that the village store has been remediated and is just in a monitoring process.
Right.
now. So,
It would be worth adding a paragraph about what's been remediated and what hasn't.
right,
Right.
okay. I'm not sure where, maybe the selectmen have documentation on what was done with the underground storage tanks at the village locations. But I know one year we paid for 4 or 5 tanks to be completely pumped out and filled with sand. I
Right.
remember that big process.
Right, me too.
Okay,
I don't think they were, Linda. I think they just did it as a precaution, and I think they tested to make sure they weren't.
yes,
I mean, it was I think we went through the whole legal process to deal with it appropriately. And I actually think, I don't know why this is here, because I think on the state side, it shows it as remediated. And this doesn't list, this looks like they're still there.
right, exactly. And it makes I mean, reading it, if you didn't know better, you'd think that this is something the town had better clean up now.
Yes,
In fact,
it
there really,
does.
I don't believe there's any town-controlled buried fuel tanks still in existence. I think we dealt with all that. And I know the store is not liable for anything right now. It's been remediated and is being monitored just because of where it is in relation to the the Piscataqua. So, okay. I'll talk to Liz about it and figure out how to redo it for a draft, for the next draft. 23, 24, 25.
Oh, here's it mentions remediation
Yeah,
sites,
it does.
but it does, most of those were the remediation sites,
Exactly.
and a couple of spilled oil tanks, I think.
It may take a little bit more going back and looking. In fact, I think one of the old warrant if I go back and pull the town warrant for that year, it'll identify where the sites are. I think we actually had it written down in the town warrant.
Mhm.
If not, maybe the Francistown News covered it. Okay, anything else on page 25? 26? And on page 27, we're changing the 1989 Water Resource Management Protection Plan to
2013.
Where is that?
under Shorelands District.
Well, the only thing is, we haven't done that, and that we haven't done it, we need to do it.
Ah,
And isn't that a zoning? That's in the zoning ordinance, so we have to do that properly.
oh, okay.
That's one of those recommendation things we need to do.
Okay, should we just though for this, leave it at other pond or perennial stream period
Yes,
and cross out listed in the,
yes. Because it's gonna be outdated as soon as we make that.
that's what I'm
change.
thinking.
Right,
Okay, so
yeah,
not reference any document.
Yeah.
That was my only on that page.
Hang on a second, hang on a second. I can't, there's not, all of the text is missing, like I don't see enough on the screen.
I don't
It's
even
like
know.
cut off. Go up more. Make it, no. Make the Shorelands District go higher up on your screen.
I see.
Okay, perfect.
There,
So in this paragraph, is she quoting our language or is she talking about how you're referencing? Let me read it again.
yeah,
I don't get that she's quoting our language. The only quotes there are because that's the title of the plan that she's citing.
Right, so it needs to, a sentence needs to be inserted that this out of date reference. This is an out. The
But we're gonna make that change to the zoning ordinance. Or so that by the time this, and this is gonna have a shelf life, I think is Betsy's point. So if we take out that reference and just leave it to the end of the perennial stream, there's no document reference. It gives a general idea and then the zoning will clarify what document we want referenced.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else anybody wants to mention about this? I'm done with this part then. Linda,
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think, so we're not ready to adjourn yet. Don't say adjourn. Wait, let me find my thing. I do think that that's all the items on the agenda. However, we are in receipt of an application for a subdivision and I need a CRC committee. So who can do what, who can meet to do CRC review?
when?
Whenever we want. The sooner is better.
I'm available.
Yeah,
Jerry, do you want to, Jerry can only do it remotely.
I don't think we are not in receipt of a electronic copy at the moment. We are only in receipt of hard copy.
Okay. Patrick Bean's been doing the CRCs and he's really good at it.
Okay, so me, you and Patrick,
Yep. If
what
he's
day?
available.
Almost any day works for me. I'd rather not do it on a weekend. If I had to.
Same with me now that I'm retired.
All right, so we'll let Patrick rule what's a good pick?
Yep.
Thank you. I have nothing else. Anybody else?
No?
Nope, move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, and the
Good
next
work. Thank
meeting
you,
will
Sarah.
be,
And everybody-
whatever the third Tuesday of the month of March is.
Did you need to vote on the changes that you had in that recommendation? Because we never
We-
did it.
I was gonna, well, we can, we really need to vote at the end when we adopt the plan. I think the only thing that we disagreed on, we voted on that specific change.
Okay.
I didn't hear any dissent in any of the other changes that we made, so I don't feel we need to vote, but if you guys want to, I'm good with that.
No, I think.
No, I don't think we, and in fact, we're probably going to make these changes, review
then
it,
have
and we
more.
may, right.
Right,
Okay.
This is just a consensus for where we're at now.
I agree.
Great.
Okay, move to adjourn.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
Where's this thing?
Isn't it fun to see who stays? Okay,
I
I'm leaving now.
I
I
want
can't
to
figure out how to quit.
Bye.
Can I get one more look at
Well, it
Beulah?
used to say
Oh.
leave the meeting, but I couldn't see, I can't figure out how to shut it off.
Oh, not yet. We got to look at Beulah.
What the fuck?
I can end it. Oh, because I'm now the host, Linda. Hi, sweetheart. Oh,
Jerry, he's your friend.
hi.
Can you tell how much bigger she is in just a
Yes.
week?
Yeah. Wow. She
I know.
lovely. Okay, so everybody left except you and me.
Yeah,
And it's okay because when I became the host, I guess that's gives me the prerogative to end the meeting.
it sounds like it does. All right, well, maybe in that case, you can end the meeting.
I'm
It's
going to
good
end the meeting.
face.
Bye, Beulah. Bye, Sarah.